Today we're talking about my living situation. I'm currently, as I'm filming this, I'm still in this living situation, so we have about 30 minutes until I think my roommate gets off work, so we're gonna try to speed run this. So it's been a fucking nightmare. First of all, am I afraid to be making this video in the first place? Yes. So obviously I'm not posting this until our lease ends in a couple months, and that's when you guys are gonna be viewing this. I just got a lot of things to say, so we're gonna get started. A few years back, I was still living with my parents. I knew that I wanted to move out soon, but I wasn't sure how I was gonna go about it. And then my roommate now, not at the time, she was just somebody that I worked with in my same department and everything, small department, so everybody's kind of very close-knit, asked if I wanted to move in with her. So I thought that was great because I thought her apartment was beautiful and I was excited to move in. But there had just been some things. So first and foremost, flirting with my ex-boyfriends. I made the mistake a couple of times, actually, of dating coworkers. I know, it's bad. Basically, it was just really heartbreaking, like everything that I went through. It was truly devastating. You know, we were both determined to be very like professional about it at work, and you know, we were in different departments, and so I wasn't gonna go out of my way to like see him or interact with him like I used to. So she knew I was like crying to her and telling her how heartbroken I was to have been dumped by this man, and she's like, you know, fuck him, like whatever. And then one day I would like, I don't smoke, but I would walk with her to her smoke breaks just to like get some fresh air and whatever. So we're walking together for her to go smoke, and we walk past this ex-boyfriend, coworker, whatever, and she didn't have a relationship with him at all. Like no friendship, nothing. And as soon as we walk all the way past him, she stops, turns around, and runs back to him where he's sitting in his truck to go like tell him a joke or something. And I see her like giggling with him. I'm stunned because that's just like so bizarre. Like I would never do that. Like why would you go out of your way to like giggle and kiki with my ex who you're like fuck them? You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm just so in shock I can't say anything at the moment. So I process, whatever, and later I like send her a text and I'm like, hey, you know, this thing happened today and I just felt like really uncomfortable and I don't know why you did that, but it just really hurt my feelings. And she sends back the most outrageous text. And again, this person has seemed so normal and like peak professionalism. I just thought she was like so put together and so intelligent. So I sent her this text about hurting my feelings, and she sends back a text about like something to the effect of, well, I'm not gonna like cuss him out and be an asshole, Olivia. Like we work together. So like if you're asking me to call him names and be a total bitch to him, like I'm sorry, but I'm just not gonna do that. Like we have to work together. And I'm like, but that's not, and see, I'm so easily gaslit, okay? Like I really am. It's a problem I need to work on. Like when she said that, I was like, but that's not what I'm asking. But I felt like so, the way she phrased it, I felt so bad that I was like, maybe I was asking her something outrageous. Like, I don't know. I feel like I was being reasonable, but I guess I'll let it go. Like that was just so weird. Like, and then she just never brought it up again, and I just didn't bring it up either. And a few months went by and I thought, you know, like it really was just a one-off because like everything is normal since then. And a few months go by and, you know, she asked me to move in and I was like, great, that actually sounds perfect because, you know, I thought her apartment was cute. We were already friends. Again, not like super close friends, more like friends who are coworkers, but it seemed like it would be like we could live together fine. That was a mistake. We move in together. And I tell her like, hey, I just wanted to get something off my chest. This thing happened a few months back and it's just really been bothering me. Like it was so weird. And she's like, oh, that is really weird. I don't remember that at all. Which honestly, I genuinely believe that she forgot, you know, like that saying, the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. You know what I mean? If you haven't heard that, I think that is like such a brilliant saying. The axe forgets, but the tree remembers. That was just like a regular Tuesday for her. Okay, that was just a normal ass day. But also just gotten to this point where I'm like, you know what? I don't need to try to figure everyone out because I will never understand that fully because I would never be that kind of person. Like I can't operate that way. But she said she didn't remember and she apologized and was like, wow, it'll never happen again. I'm really sorry. But again, like, you know, she doesn't remember it. So like I felt better but not great about it. She couldn't offer any explanation because she genuinely didn't remember doing that. Just But yeah, as you can imagine, it happened again. Yeah, so there was this guy at work that I was like, you know what, I got burned from dating this one coworker, but I wasn't planning to stay in the job for that much longer. And so I thought, you know what could it hurt? Maybe I was like playing around with this idea. Maybe I would see if I might want to date this other guy, whatever. And it started small. Like I was like, you know what, he is kind of cute. And so I would just share with my roommate, like, because we were working together at the time still. And I would just say, you know who's cute? That one guy. And she was like, yeah, he is cute. You're right. I thought the same thing. And that's all we'd say about it. Move on. Like a month later, I'm like, you know, I just keep thinking that, you know who's cute? That guy. And she's like, yeah, he's cute. We go back to work. And it just like keeps progressing in my brain. So I'm just like telling her about it as it's happening. This is very relevant, by the way. I know I'm like, it seems like a small detail, but very relevant. So this is all the conversation that we've had about it. Like, you know, I've been like, oh, you know, he is so nice. And like, I really think he's so cute. Like, yeah, he is cute, whatever. And then one day, mind you, she's fully in this toxic relationship, which we'll get to in a second. She's fully in a relationship. And then one day I go onto like Facebook and I like look up this guy because previously he had had a girlfriend. And so when I look him up, I see that his relationship status is single. And so I get really excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's single. And she goes, oh my gosh, now I can date him. And I'm like, no, I meant for me. And she looks like so shocked and put off. What the fuck? Like, at what point did you think that I would be considering this man for you when I've been talking about him being cute and you've been just casually agreeing? I've expressed that I like him. You've been in a relationship for about almost a year now. Like, none of this makes sense. I don't need to over-explain. I'm over-explaining this. But you guys get it. Like, I don't, like, you get it. You get it. And so I was seeing this guy for not that long, really. It ended up being a situationship and it was messy and not good. But during it, while I was seeing this guy, I would say to her, like, we'd be chatting and like, you know, blah, 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 like talking at the office, whatever. And anytime that I would say his name, she'd go like from looking at me like, you know, like very engaged. And I'd say his name and she'd be like, and be like listening while she's typing on her computer, like smile falls. It's giving hater. It's giving big hater energy. It's giving that you want what I have. I think there's so many themes to this, and I think that's really one of the themes. I think that I have a lot of qualities that she's jealous of. It was giving big jealousy energy. I think she really was like preying on my downfall for that more than any other time. Oh, and then all of a sudden he like basically things just ended very abruptly and he was like very cruel to me. And I don't want to get into the specifics, it's fine, but basically it happened at work through text. And so we went outside, me and my roommate, and I like told her about it and she was like, oh fuck him, just go in there and pretend like you don't even care. And I was like, okay, whatever. She gave me this pep talk and I go back in there, I sit down. She comes in after me. Again, this man that she has no relationship with, no friendship, she goes up and shows her some sort of meme on her phone and like giggles with him. Girl! And I'm just staring at her. I literally just told her about this happening. Like, and in this moment I was like, I can't trust her. Like, I genuinely cannot trust her because she wishes evil upon me. I'm literally so nice, and also she just was so like toxic and sucks you in. This is all to say that this was not the end of our friendship, unfortunately, and it should have been. And I brought this up to her and she was like, you know, we're friends too, me and him. And I'm like, girl, no you're not. See how you interact with people. You are not that close that you had to do that. It's just to imply that like it would have been weird if you didn't. Like, you're supposed to be, like, she would tell me all the time, I'm her best friend. Like, there's such a short list of people. Can you imagine, like, treating me like this and I'm your best friend? She's like, there's such a short list of people. There's maybe like 3 people on this list of people that I really, really trust. All these other people that are close in my life that you see me with, I don't trust them. Like, you're like one of the people, like 3 people in my life that I trust. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool, whatever. I could kind of see like maybe if that was like one of your really good friends, like maybe acting that, but like you were flirting. You were flirting and you were reveling in the fact that he hurt me. I don't even think I processed that until this moment. Like, she was genuinely in that moment, she was excited that he'd hurt me. I really hate that. Bitch, what the fuck? Like, you're supposed to be my friend. You said that I'm like your closest friend. She's never been my closest friend. But there was a time where we were close, but it's just It's all gone to hell. You know what's really crazy and is a huge red flag that scared me even in the moment? I think this was in like the first week that I'd moved in with her at the old place we used to live together. The last video I had posted was me talking about the story time of dating a coworker and how he'd like broken my heart and like how horrible I felt and like what I learned from it, and like, you know, it was just very emotional, and like I do these story times about like horrible things that had happened to me and like, you know, what I gotten from the experience. And so that was the most recent video I'd posted, and she's subscribed to my channel, will probably be watching this. And she watched that video and was like very supportive and gave feedback and stuff, and like before I like posted it. So knowing what kind of content I do story times about, in the first week when we moved in together, she turned to me out of nowhere and goes, "Hey, you're not gonna make a story time or a YouTube video about me, are you?" Like, what do you plan to do to me? That was just, in that moment, I was so horrified because like literally like my scary ex said the same thing. Imagine turning your trauma into art and someone knowing that's the kind of art that you make is out of your trauma, and they are worried that you're gonna make art about them. Oh God, and it was such a like bright red flag. And then the two biggest situations. Oh, it's so stressful to bring up. I guess that's why I saved it for last, but like, oh, it's so stressful to bring up. This first incident was right after we moved in together. So we're moved in and I had my new dresser just delivered from IKEA, and I was so excited to put it together, and I really didn't want to go out, but my roommate was having some friends come over to go sit at the bonfire. And she was like, "Please, please, I need my emotional support, Olivia." I was like, okay, that's cute. Like, whatever, sure. You really need me. Like, you're nervous. Like, whatever, I'll go hang out. And so I go hang out for like an hour and a half maybe. And it's like 11:30 or so. And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting really tired. I have a lot of stuff I need to do tomorrow. Like, I want to put together my dresser. I was going on a date the next day. I had shit to do, so I was like, I'm just gonna call it an early night. And her friends were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna leave soon too. Like, we really gotta get home, and we just want to go to bed too. So we'll probably be not long after you." I was like, "Okay, cool. It's nice to see you guys. Like, have a great night, whatever." So I go back upstairs and I get into bed, go to sleep, and sometime between midnight and 1 a.m. I'm like startled awake by loud noises, and it's my roommate, her boyfriend, and two of the friends that she was having over, and they're like super drunk and they're being like super loud. Her boyfriend is like loudly singing off key, like, I mean, might as well have been like shouting and screaming, okay? And they're like laughing really hard and really loud, and I'm thinking, oh God, okay, that was like a little annoying, but like they're just really drunk. They probably just don't realize how loud they're being, right? I didn't think they were gonna come up here, but like that's fine as long as they're just like a little quieter than this. And so I just text her, "Hey, you guys are really loud." And she texts back, "Well, we're gonna be loud." And I'm looking at the text like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I only have one bedroom to sleep in. Like, I don't have anywhere I could go. I could drive, literally my parents' house is 30 minutes away, which is like fine, but it's already like after midnight and I'm trying to wake up early to get stuff done. And so I don't want to lose that sleep and then also have to drive 30 minutes. Like, you know, it's just going to be a huge inconvenience. And I'm thinking to myself, like, am I going to sleep in my car? All of this, it just should not be necessary because, again, this is my home. I pay the rent. Like, I should be able to expect to sleep here. Like, there was no expectation that her friends were sleeping over, let alone, like, coming upstairs. And again, they didn't sleep over, but they were there, like, super long, maybe till, like, 2 or 3 in the morning. Well, her friends might have left, but like her and her boyfriend were being loud in the living room until like 2 or 3 in the morning. And so I see that she says like, "Well, it's gonna be loud." And I'm just in shock because I'm like so exhausted. I'm like, am I reading this right? Like, did she really? Because again, I just don't understand how people can be so horrible. There has to be another explanation. Like, I'm misunderstanding. This just cannot be happening. So I'm just like staring at the phone and I'm just like, as it's processing, I'm getting like really angry, but I don't know what to do. And eventually when I don't text back, she's like, "You can just put on headphones or something." Like, headphones? It's hard enough. Like, I'm one of those people that has a hard time sleeping when like go to a hotel or something because the bed is different. And I'm a side sleeper. Like, put on headphones, like, oh my God. So I'm like getting, like, my rage is growing the longer I can't sleep, and it's just like literally all she had to do was just be a little bit quieter or just text back, "Oh, I'm so sorry, they'll be gone in half an hour." Like, whatever. And so they just carried on. And I'm just like in such shock and like anger, shock, anger, shock, anger, back and forth. And I just don't know what to do. And I'm also such a shy person. So like looking back, I should have just peeked my head out and been like, hey guys, don't mind if you're here, but if you guys could just like be a little bit quieter so I can sleep and we can both, you know, coexist, that would be great. And I'm sure like her friends were like very lovely people, so I'm sure they would have understood. Might have pissed her off, who knows. Yeah, and so I'm up till like 6 or 7 in the morning because I just can't sleep because I'm so just like hurt and like attacked in this situation. As like the sun's starting to come up, I send a text and the text said, I'm really fucking livid right now. And that's it. And I feel like that's reasonable because I was angry and anyone else in this situation would be angry too. Like you literally took my sleep. You sleep deprived me when I literally had stuff to do. And also it doesn't matter if I had stuff to do. It's reasonable to expect that I can sleep in my own home. I send that text. She doesn't see it till next morning apparently. She goes to bed. I go to bed. I finally pass out. And I wake up the next morning and I'm like, you know what? Like I'm still really upset. But I'm just gonna like breathe through it. I'm gonna make my breakfast. I'm gonna watch my show and I'm just gonna decompress and we can just talk about it later because that was really crazy and you know, it's whatever. I make my breakfast, I go into my room, I'm watching TV on my phone, like literally I'm watching like Castle on my phone because I don't even have my TV set up. So I'm just watching it there and I'm eating my little breakfast. So she wakes up, sees that text, and she starts sending me this barrage of hateful texts, like just attacking my character, calling me names, just being like super cruel. And it's just bam, 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 back to back to back to back to back. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like I'm literally like trying to eat my shitty little like Jimmy Dean sandwich or something and watch Castle on my phone, but I can't. Again, I'm watching on my phone, so I'm seeing like ding 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 notification, just like little previews of all the nasty stuff she's saying to me. Again, I was very sleep deprived, but now looking back, I probably would have just like pulled out my laptop and just watched on my laptop, right? But I'm sleep deprived, so I'm not thinking about this. I'm not thinking straight. So I text back, we will talk later. And she just ignores it and just keeps like spamming me with all this stuff, like trying to like argue with me and like call me names and like all this stuff. And I'm like, we'll talk later. And she again just keeps sending me shit and I'm like, we'll talk later. And then she mocks me and goes like, we'll talk later, like in text, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, that's fucking it. So I step out of my room, I go bang, bang, bang on her door. So I scream like, stop fucking texting me. And then I go back into my room and she follows me and she stands outside my door and is like, we need to talk right now. And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck, like what kind of weird personality she took on. Like I think that what happens is she just like rewrites what's happening in her head and like tells herself something else is going on, like makes herself the protagonist in the story instead of the villain, even when it's very like cut and dry, like who's right and who's wrong. And so she's like standing outside my door like shouting all this stuff, and eventually, I don't know how this ended up happening, but eventually I'm just like, you know what, I just need to be out of this apartment and I need her to stop trying to talk to me. So I like grab some of my stuff and some shorts and flip-flops and I just go run downstairs and get in my car and lock the door. And when I turn to look, there she is. Fucking she chased after me. And she's standing outside my door going, get out here right now. We have to talk right now. Like, bitch, I'm looking at her like, you have lost your goddamn mind. And I, at that point, I think I was even on the phone with my mom at that point because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, this is like so much. Like, I literally wake up and I'm being attacked. Yeah, I was just looking at her and I just went, no. Just over and over again. I was like, I'm on the phone. No. And eventually she went back upstairs, but continues to send me this stuff like, you have anger problems, which really hurt my feelings. Like, genuinely, like that shook me to the core. Eventually, I just knew she was gonna like fake apologize, and she did. She sent me a text apologizing, but you know, it's one of those like, oh, I guess I just have to like smooth things over, so I'm just gonna say I'm sorry, but she's not really sorry. Like, it's just so child, like I felt like I was interacting with a child. And also I just felt, it was just so weird. And so eventually I felt like everything had cooled down enough that I could go back inside and not be afraid. And so I go back inside. I just get ready for my date because now it's time for my date. I didn't get to build my dresser, which is the only thing I've wanted to do all weekend is build my dresser. I'm very like Hank Hill in that way. Like I'm just like, yay, building things. So I get ready for my date and I'm exhausted. And then I come back and, you know, we agree like, let's go for a walk and talk. And so she goes first and she explains how goes on this whole rant about how it's not okay for me to tell her how she can live in her own house, and how like I just shouldn't tell her what to do, and it's really not right for me. And then at the end she's like, I remember distinctly, she like gives a little smile and a nod, like she's so proud of herself for getting that out and like speaking up for herself. And I'm looking at her like, she lives in a completely different reality than me. Like, she lives in not reality, because everything you just addressed didn't happen. Like, I didn't tell you how to live. I literally just wanted you to be a little bit quieter. And she talked all about how like this was her first time having people over and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, but that's irrelevant. Like, I just wanted to sleep. And it was just so weird, like that whole time we talked, like again, I couldn't really articulate myself well because I was fucking sleep deprived and also like drained from that like really emotional, like heightened situation. And also my date went terribly, but I literally was just in shock because I was so like, I don't know where she went or who she is. Do you guys know what I mean? It's just so weird because this isn't the person I thought she was, and I don't know if I'm safe. Oh, that's the other thing. She also said, if you ever act like that again, I don't know if we can live together. If I ever act like that again? Girl, you chased me to my car. Like, literally, I should have tried to get out of my lease right then. And the other thing is that I then had to apologize for screaming. She went also on about how it's never appropriate to scream, like that's not okay. And I was like, sure, okay, and I'm sorry for screaming. Honestly, looking back, I'm not sorry. I think that was a small reaction to what was happening. I think that was very small. I think most people would not have handled that as gracefully as I did. And I was like, I feel like, and I just like explained some of the stuff, you know, my perspective. And I felt like she's not gonna be reasonable, so I just let a lot of it go. And I just brought up some basic points. It's just like 10% of my perspective, and I just want you to understand a little bit of that. And she was like, okay, yeah, that's fair, like to the points that I was saying. I was like, okay, cool, great. And she was like, yep, I can either be right or I can be happy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounds just very like husband who hates his wife. A, I'm your friend and you're not supposed to hate me. Secondly, that's like acting as if I asked you to like concede a lot of your side, but I didn't. I don't think she had to concede any of her points. And all she had to do was like say, yeah, okay, I can see that. And then we'd move on. She just undid all of that. Literally this tiny, 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 tiny little thing. Tiny, 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 tiny little thing that we could have just said, yeah, I could see that. And then we could move on. This tiny little thing that would just make me feel better. And then you said like, fuck you. And it just taught me that like we can't really discuss this. Like she's just living in a different reality.
Also, I did bring this situation up again like a few months later. Be like, hey, like we never really finished talking about this. And anytime that I would bring this up, she either didn't remember or she would apologize for waking me up. Which is like beside the point. Like the waking me up isn't as bad as harassing me over text messages and calling me names, or chasing me to my car, or repeatedly making me apologize for yelling after she harassed me. The only thing that she could say was she's sorry that she woke me up, or that she forgot enough of the details that she just can't even discuss it anymore because she just doesn't remember.
Things were not the same after this. Things were not at all the same. We were definitely not as close. We were kind of holding each other at arm's length for a bit after that. Me rightfully so.
For time, I'm just gonna summarize this point really quick. Basically, there was a point where, like, I would talk and she would straight up ignore me. Like, she would literally just, I would call her name repeatedly, like, right beside her, and she would just, like, not react, and someone else would come in and talk to her, and she would react, and I just, like, felt so, like, blatantly disrespected. And from that moment on, I, like, didn't consider us friends. And I really think that she would be shocked to find out that I felt that way, that we haven't been friends for, like, a really long time. Like, she even, eventually, she came to her senses about some stuff, and I, like, told her how I felt, and she apologized, but then she, like, never tried to repair our friendship, so I actually haven't considered us friends since before her and her ex, like, broke up. And I think that she would be really shocked to hear that. Honestly, if we didn't live together, we would have stopped being friends after that first incident where she chased me to my car.
She's back, so we'll have to finish another time. Hello everyone, it's a week later and we're in my bathtub because my roommate is home and I thought maybe if I was in here she wouldn't hear me, so welcome. Where even were we? Yeah, so there's really one big story that I want to tell you guys. This next story I'm about to tell you is actually the most recent thing, the last thing that really happened, and we genuinely like haven't spoken since. So here's what really burst my bubble and made me wake up from all of this. Right now it's July, around Halloween time last year. I had kickstarted doing my freelance photography stuff. I didn't really have like a diverse portfolio, so like my prices were really cheap. And so my roommate came to me and was like, let's do a Halloween photo shoot. Like, let's do one that's like really sexy, but also really scary. And I was like, okay, yeah, absolutely, we can do that. And I told her, like, I pitched her this idea and I was like, what do you think of this? And she was like, I love it. And I was like, great, that's like super out of her comfort zone. I did not expect her to want to do this idea, but I was like, okay, yeah, cool. We talked at length about like what we wanted it to look like and like how it should be. I could tell that like her vision was like a lot more sexy than what I had planned. So I like sort of, you know, changed my vision to be a lot more like sexy, empowering, like strong, like that was kind of like the vibe. And so I was like, great, like we can totally do that. I was being really cheap while I was building my portfolio, and she got like friend prices. So I charged her $150. I spent $50 on materials myself, so I only made $100 for this, so keep that in mind. So we do the shoot, we have a great time. I'm showing her like my camera, I'm like, look, this is how it's turning out. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. We get some great shots. Again, I'm showing her like every step of the way, right? And we liked basically all the same photos. We kind of had the same like thought process about it. So I'm like, great, okay, I'll continue on. Because that's also very important to me, like as someone who's doing this freelance work, it's like, it's important that not only do I like the work, but it may be even more important that the client likes the work. So I edit all the photos and I'm like floored. I'm like, this is some of my favorite work. Like, I don't think I've done a photo shoot that I love more than this. Like, this is so good. This is so cool. And she's so excited about it. I can't wait to show her. She's gonna love it. And so I show her on my computer, I show her the edited photos, and she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, this looks great. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'll go ahead and send them to you. So I send her the photos. She posts some of her favorite. I post some of my favorite. Call it a night. I'm like, that's great. This all worked out so well. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. And hours later, I'm getting ready for bed. I'm actually talking to my boyfriend on the phone, which is the last thing that I do before I go to bed. It's like really late. I'm about to go to sleep. I get a knock on the door and I come out and she's like, hey, can you come out? I need to talk to you. And I was like, yeah, what's going on? And she looks like so like upset and devastated. And she says, I just had to tell you I lied before and I just think it's better for our friendship if I'm honest. I hate the photos. I don't want you to do anything to fix them. They're not sexy. I don't feel empowered by them. I didn't even want to post them. First of all, no one made you post them. But she's like, I just felt like I need to tell you because it's better for our friendship if I'm honest with you. And I was like, oh my god, like, what do you say to that? I'm just like fucking flabbergasted and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I really thought that we were on the same page and like, I thought they're really sexy. And she's like, no, I know. We just must have different definitions of what sexy is. What? Like, I'm like, if that's the case, like, that fine, but I'm just like so shook. For one, I'm thinking like I sent her like, I think it was like 32 or more final like edited photos. That's a lot, and they were all like in different locations and different poses. There was so much variety in the photos. I'm thinking like she didn't feel empowered by any of them, and she tells me that she's been crying all night long about this. I'm just standing there flabbergasted. She's like, it's fine, we don't need to do anything about it. I'm just gonna go to bed, good night, and like walks away. And so I'm stood there like stunned. I felt awful. Like, literally I was devastated. I was like, what did I do wrong? Like, what could I have changed? These are the things that are running through my head, like while I'm awake now from like 11:30 to 3 or 4 a.m. trying to figure this out. I'm like calling my dad, who I know has insomnia and is probably awake, and I'm telling him the whole thing, and he's like, I don't know what to make of this either. Like, this is super weird. Wake up the next day and she's texting me and it's like, hey, sorry if last night was a lot. It's just like these apologies that avoid accountability, right? She says, sorry if last night was a lot. I think I just don't like the editing style, but the pictures are fine. We had a good time shooting them, so it's whatever. We can just move past it. Thank you. And I'm like, I have so many thoughts. Firstly, the editing style. So these photos, like, naturally, the raw photos already had like a very like hyper specific style. I really just like heightened what was already there. I just sort of intensified them, if that makes sense. So saying like she didn't like the editing style, I was like really confused, because I was like, well, did you not like the raw photos? Because the raw photos, it's not that they didn't look super different from the edited ones. Like, it's not like my editing was like nothing, like it was non-existent. But again, it was just like taking elements that were there and making them more intense, right? So I'm like running this all through my head and I'm just like so confused, and I spend the whole day just sort of like processing this interaction, right? I just like come to this decision that like I'm gonna like just have a little talk with her and we'll just like talk this out, and because this was a lot. And so when I come back to the apartment, I see her and I'm like, hey, I just want to clarify a few things. So just to be clear, like, it's just the edit that you don't like. You really did like the raw photos. That's correct? And she's like, yeah, that's right. I told her, if you want to pick out your top like 5 or 6, maybe even 10 photos, like your favorite from the shoot, and we could go on Pinterest and like look at some different, or wherever you look, and find some different editing styles, and you can point to which ones you like and what you don't like, and like we can kind of come up with a plan, and I will go and re-edit those photos for you. And she's like, yeah, maybe, thank you for offering that. And then I say, okay. And then secondly, I just really didn't like the way that you approached me about it last night. Like, I wish you would have just been honest with me from the get-go, but I also just wish, you know, I was going to sleep and I was like winding down, and then I just felt like I had this big thing dropped on me in this really dramatic fashion. I wish you would have just come to me like calmly and respectfully and just explained how you were feeling, and we could have talked about it. But the way that you did it just felt like so much more intense, and it felt like, you know, you weren't really considering how that would affect me. And so I'm like looking down when I say this because I'm like collecting my thoughts. And when I finish, I look up, and I really don't want to reenact it because genuinely when I say that this whole thing is traumatic, I'm not exaggerating. So I really don't want to mimic her body language, but when I say I looked up from my statement and I looked at her, and she was looking away from me, and she was like so like rigid and tense, you know, that like when someone's just like so angry, and she's looking away from me and she says, I can't even talk about this right now, Olivia, because I can't even right now because I'm so angry. I just can't even. And I was like, see, one thing about me is that I'm not gonna play the game. If I sense that there's a game going on, like if I sense that like in this situation you want me to like blow up, or you want me to argue, like so that you can justify acting however you want to act, which is what I felt like was happening, I'm just not gonna play the game. So she says, I can't even right now because I'm so angry. So I just said, that's totally fine. I totally understand. If you just want to think about it, let this process, and we can come back and talk about this later, I totally get that. All I ask is that, you know, you do it in person and just not over text, because things get really misconstrued that way. And I look at her and she's just kind of looking right through me, like looking like past me, just like deer in headlights for like a good like 5 or 6 seconds, and there's no indication that she's gonna say anything. So I'm like, damn, okay, I guess she's really not gonna say anything. So I get up and I just like calmly walk to my room. I'm like, I guess that went as well as it could, I guess. I go into my room, I turn on my shower, which I'm currently sitting in, and that's when I hear something really weird. And it's because I like would never behave this way that I just assume that I'm hearing things and I'm just like misinterpreting what's happening. So for a minute I can't comprehend what I'm hearing. So the shower water is running, right? So I step back into my bedroom, which is, you know, connected to my bathroom. So I step back out so I can hear a little bit better. And when I step away from the shower, I hear screaming in the kitchen. My first thought, again, because I just cannot comprehend that this would be happening, my first thought is she on the phone? Is she arguing with someone on the phone? Like 15 seconds after we finish talking? Like, I know that doesn't make sense, but that makes more sense to me than she's screaming at me because of the conversation we just had. It like dawns on me, like, she's screaming at me. She was screaming like she was gonna physically assault me. The screaming that happens between two women before they start swinging on each other. Like, seriously. Oh, so that's how we're gonna do it? So that's how we're gonna do it? Then let's fucking do it. Let's fucking go then. Let's fucking go then. But again, I'm being soft, and she was like screaming this from the kitchen at me. And so I'm like, holy fucking shit. And I'm shaking, and I go and I lock the door and I call my mom, and I'm like, so this whole thing is happening? Like, I talked to her like I said I was gonna talk to her, and now she's just screaming, and I'm like kind of scared, like, what am I supposed to do? My mom's like, well, I think you should have a witness there, like, can one of your friends come over or something? And I'm like, well, I'm supposed to see Patrick later, maybe Patrick can just come over. Call Patrick, and I tell him like, hey, can you actually like come over here and come get me? Patrick, my boyfriend. And he's like, yeah, of course, of course. I can't even remember if she's still screaming at this point or not. Literally, I was just so like fight or flight, like what is happening? At this point, I'm crying. Realistically, do I think I could take her? Yes. Does that matter? No, not really. Because do I want to physically fight someone? No, I don't even want to verbally fight someone. Like, I am with Megan Thee Stallion in the too pretty to be fighting camp, okay? I think like just the fact of like being terrified in your own home really adds a significant like level to this. It just intensifies that terror that like something bad is happening in the place where you live, the place where you're supposed to be safe. Like the time where she chased me to my car, like she made me feel unsafe in my bedroom at the old apartment, and I was like so happy to move to this new apartment because I was like, you know, finally a place that she hasn't tainted. Here we are, like fucking it up again. I like with my door locked. I'm getting really upset saying it again. I'm getting upset talking about this. So with my door locked, I hop in the shower really quick, grab up some basic essentials and throw a bag together. I tell him like, don't knock when you get here. Just like call me when you're here and I'll come straight out, because I don't want to be lingering in the common space. Like I don't want to risk another interaction. I want to go straight out of my room, out the house. Like I just want to leave in one swift motion, basically. So he calls me that he's here and I walk out and everything's dark out there. Like she just went to bed. And I just walk out and continue the plan and go to Patrick's house. Like she just went to bed after that. I'm like really getting upset. There's just like also such a level of betrayal, and like somebody masquerading as someone who cares about me, and then it turns out like they only care about themselves, you know? Like I deserve to feel safe in my own home, but apparently let's fucking go then for her translated to making me fear for my life. First of all, that was accomplished. Then secondly, unfollowing and blocking me on social media. And it's crazy because somebody else had done that to me like a month prior, and I had told her how much it had hurt me, and that's just dawning on me that like I had just told her how much doing that had like hurt me. There's also like no reason to have done that except to hurt me, because like it didn't accomplish anything. You know, does that make sense? You guys follow what I'm saying? I spent the next day at my parents' house again, and I just like processed the whole thing. That's where I came to the conclusion that like this person is not rational. So I thought, why am I wasting my time? Why am I spending so much energy? You know what I mean? Like it's a waste. It's not going to work. And everyone hates this part, but what I did next was I apologized to her. I know, we hate it. Yeah, she was like in the shower or something when I got home. And so I really just wanted to get it over with. I wrote her an apology note and I said how it was unfair of me to say what I said, whatever. And I know that she just had the best intentions and she was just very upset. And also I had this skirt that I'd thrifted and I never figured out how to wear it exactly. Like it just didn't go with any of my clothes. So I was like, here, have this skirt, because she loves getting hand-me-downs. So I took the note and the skirt and I put it on the counter for her. Since she screamed at me, I was having like periodically throughout the day, it felt like my heart was being squeezed really tight. Like, oh, like it's not good to think about. I kept feeling that periodically. Like I felt like I was gonna be sick, just so full of dread. It was awful. But yeah, then the next day she came up and said, thank you for the skirt. And then tried to talk to me about whatever boy she was going on a date with. And I was like, wow, yeah, okay. That's really all I'm gonna get, isn't it? After that, I just started doing what TikTok has called gray rocking. It's basically you give as little information and as little reaction to everything as possible. So she says like, hey, how's your weekend? And I say, good. And then I just carry on whatever I'm doing. Hi everybody, it's me again in the future. I really hope that there wouldn't be another update, but unfortunately there is more to tell. But first, the update that matters the most, I am no longer living there. And I haven't seen her since. Yay! After I moved out, she sent me our final utility bill and I sent her my half, and then I blocked her for good, and let me tell you, I rejoiced. Like I was calling people and I'm telling them the news. She's blocked, never again. And life has just gotten so much better, okay? Like so much better. So I'm kind of on top of the world a little bit, and it's amazing. I will say I did for a while have nightmares about her each night until I truly felt safe. I really like did not know how I was gonna make it. I really was like, life is just never gonna get better. I'm never gonna feel better. Our lease ended in mid-August and it's November now. I think in October is when I really like felt like everything is okay and I really can relax. Things really do get better. The last 365 days have been, if you're feeling that way, just keep pushing. Anyways, so yeah, I guess let's get on with the update. In order to update you guys about this, I unfortunately do have to share context so that you guys can understand the update. I'm ready to like push through and like move on with this like former roommate story, but with this backstory that I'm about to tell you, I'm really not at that point. What I'm about to tell you happened a year ago and I'm still like not well about it. So that being said, I'm gonna share the story with you guys, but I'm just gonna keep it super vague is what I decided. But I just don't want it to feel like I'm leaving things out because I'm trying to sway you guys to like side with me. But unfortunately, I am gonna keep a lot of the detail to myself about this story. That being said, let's get on with it. My former roommate, as far as I know, is still besties with this older woman who was a mentor to me for 3 years. And she stole from me. She stole digital files from me because she could. And it wasn't something that I super needed. Like I didn't need those things, you know, but they were like backups and project files, personal and professional, and like my side hustle, like all of it. She took everything. And I reached out to her and was like, I'm hoping that it was a misunderstanding and we could clear this up really easily. Super, you know, no big deal. And then she blocked me on everything. And so that really fucked me up, okay? I mean, she took this stuff not because she needed it. She could have taken it for any reason, but most likely she took it to hurt me very intentionally. She stole from me and it was bad. And this was someone that like I hung out with like in group settings like frequently for 3 years. So this was someone that I had like this personal relationship with. She was also my mentor. And to have this happen was devastating. This was like so deeply troubling, like heart-stopping. I don't know, it just felt so like I can't even wrap my head around why this would happen. And I know you guys can't either because I'm not giving you the full story, and I'm sorry, I know. This person was definitely rough around the edges, but I had respect for them. This person always spoke like they were looking out for me and they had my best intentions in mind. And then to turn around and do this was so devastating. And I told my then roommate about it. We were on speaking terms at the time, and she was like, whoa, I can't believe she would do that. This is also the same woman that this mentor person, when we all hung out in like a big group setting and we went out for drinks, and I had several drinks, one of her guy friends that she brought sexually assaulted me. And the next day I told her about it and I was like, hey, this happened. And her response was, and I quote, "Ah, that asshole, I'll have to have a talk with him."
This is to say that she did continue to be friends with him after this.
Rough around the edges. Yeah, I knew that we were not going to be besties by any stretch of the imagination. I really didn't want to be besties with someone like that, but I did. Again, we had that sort of mentor dynamic, and I looked up to this person. And I, you know, trusted and respected them and what they had to say, and then they stole from me. Again, the stuff that she took wasn't stuff that I desperately needed, that I couldn't live without. It's just the intent, right? She didn't have a use for it either. She wasn't taking it for that reason. She took it because she wanted to hurt me. She blocked me because she wanted to hurt me. And that's like impossible for me to process. So anyways, when this happened, my then roommate at some point said, you know, I'd never bring her around here knowing that you guys are on bad terms. Which, bad terms is a very generous way to say that she fucking stole from me. But okay. So now flash forward, the last straw has happened between me and my roommate. The stuff, I've already told that story about the photography thing and her screaming at me. I'm at the point where I am just trying to get through this, and time is passing and it's uncomfortable. When it first popped off, it was like almost a year left on our lease, okay? So we were getting closer and closer to the finish line, and it was like, things were working out. Like I was like, if I can just make it to the finish line, I will never have to see her again. Late July, early August, something like that, and I'm doing the Greensboro 48-hour film project, okay? And so I just spent the last like 12 plus hours filming. Okay, I was exhausted. It's like 2 a.m. I'm coming back home to my apartment, and I see my former roommate and her bestie, this much older woman, walking to my apartment. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I just want to go to bed. I'm not going to get very much sleep. And I have to wake up and I have to edit for this film competition. Like, I have to go. And now this person is in my house who is also drunk and just shouldn't fucking be here. And I was also promised that she wouldn't be here. So I walk inside and I glance at my roommate briefly and I'm like staring daggers at her because I'm like, what the fuck? And I just go to my room. But in that brief glance, I can see she looks so like deer in headlights, like she's seen a ghost. The look on her face, like she knows she was doing something wrong by having this person here and clearly didn't think that I was going to come back to the apartment, which is not cool because whether I'm there or not, if I'm there, I'm uncomfortable. If I'm not there, you just brought this person to the place where all my things are, this person who previously stole from me, and now the rest of my belongings are here in this apartment and you've brought them. I go into my room. At this point, I'm like, what the fuck do I do? I'm getting more and more upset. This person who traumatized me is in the house with this other person who is actively traumatizing me that I live with. I don't know, maybe this seems dramatic, I don't know, but like, I just don't feel safe. Like, I don't feel safe. I feel like in this moment, like, I'm a child. Like, I feel so helpless. I'm in a bad situation and there's nothing to be done. There's nothing to stop it. You know what? If I'm upset, I want them to know. I want them to hear it. And so I'm just like loudly fucking crying in my room. Like, scream crying. Okay? Like, it's very dramatic and unsettling. And I've tried so hard to make sure that nothing pops off between us. Surely she wants to end things on good terms. Surely y'all watching this are like, no the fuck she doesn't. I know she doesn't probably fucking care. So I sent her a text and I'm gonna show you guys the text. And I know it's gonna sound so dramatic. The way that I phrased it was just so over the top, but literally I was trying everything. I was like, every time I have like called her out in some way, she always snaps and it like triggers her. So I'm like, maybe if I can just phrase it just right, maybe she won't take it as an attack. So I sent her this text. I'm like, maybe she'll understand and she'll just put this woman in an Uber back to her own home. Okay, so I send the text and the response I get is to get a fucking grip because we're way past doing things that we would never do. And I'm like, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, what the fuck does that mean? It implies that I did something. What did I do? I haven't even spoken to her in almost a year. And her sending me this text really fucking triggered me from the last few times that she popped off, because when she talked to me like this, anything could fucking happen and I was so fucking scared. But I just felt like I needed evidence that this was happening, like some sort of proof, because I was like so worried like what was gonna pop off. I thought, would people even believe me that this is going on? And so in this moment, maybe it sounds cringe, but I recorded myself, so I'm gonna show you that to see what that's like and what it felt like.
I just have to film this really quick. She invited somebody over that she knows stole from me. And I'm worried now because I said something that she's gonna like lash out and do something bad to me again. And I just don't think I'm safe here. And I just don't know what to do. There's no right answer here. Like, everything is so bad.
So following that, I call my boyfriend again and he is just getting done. He has been DJing all night and he is exhausted. He's heading back home to his place. I was like, hey, I need you to come be here because I'm scared and I can't go to sleep. So he comes straight from his DJ gig, I'm sure fucking exhausted, and just stays with me and like holds me until I can go to sleep. All of this is fucking crazy. Like, can you imagine living like this? Like, it sounds, I'm like separating myself from this and this as I tell this story. It's just like so crazy, like the fact that I had to live like this and the fact that I don't anymore. Whew. And she sent me another text when I woke up in the morning. They weren't there anymore, thank God.
Also, can I add that I remember reading this and being so confused at her apologizing for saying she doesn't care. Like, it's so weird. She always does this. Whenever she does something crazy, she always apologizes later for something that, like, legitimately doesn't matter. When she initially said, I don't care, in the text, like, I didn't even notice it because literally, like, everything else was so fucking crazy. Imagine, like, someone burns your house down. In the process, they knocked over a vase. And the next day, they're like, oh, sorry I broke your vase. Like, it's just so crazy!
But I don't respond because I'm like, I don't want to play this game where I try to be like, please, a scrap of humanity, please. Like, So yeah, that was really the end of that drama. Thank God she was gone that morning. And I was able to just tune it out and focus on editing for the 48 Hour Film Project. That was great, and we won some awards and whatever. Well, the battery in my light died, but I'm very happy. I think my mental health is getting so much better. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for all my support systems. I mean, it really was a fucking hard road to get here, but I'm safe. So aware of how incredibly loved that I am, and I'm so lucky to have such beautiful, wonderful people in my life. I have a great family. My partner's family is so loving and warm towards me. My friends are the greatest people alive. The ADHD demons took over here, and I totally forgot to mention my partner, who I absolutely would not have made it through this time without him. And I love him so much. Sometimes it takes a long fucking time to course correct and make your life better, but it will get fucking better because it fucking has to. So I hope that you guys learned something or were entertained or something. I don't know. I know I feel better getting all this off my chest. Life gets really fucking hard sometimes, and sometimes unfair shit just happens. Thank you all for watching, and I appreciate you so much for being here, and anyone who's watching this because they love and support me, thank you, and I love you so much. Bye! See you next time.
You really dumb enough to think I'd tell you anything, you dumb dirty hoe. I wouldn't tell you what color socks I got on.